If you have ever wanted to start a business, if you have ever said, I want to be self-employed, I'm tired of working for the man, I'm tired of whatever, first of all, I feel you. Second of all, there are not enough resources on the internet that tell people exactly step by step how to do this. So today I want to talk to you about how to start a business in 2020 and beyond, how to actually get started, how to actually know what that first step is, because you ain't got time to be like fumbling all over the internet to figure this out. You need to figure it out now. Hello and welcome back. If you are brand new here, my name is Jessica Stansberry and I'm going to be your tour guide during this video. I own a company called Hey Jessica, where we put information out into the world that helps people just like you learn how to start, build, and grow the business of their dream so they can live the life of their dreams. And if that sounds like something you want more of, oh y'all, make sure you hit subscribe because trust me, you don't want to miss the stuff coming on this channel. We're just gonna jump into it. I'm not gonna waste your time because you're sitting there thinking, I want to start a business and I don't know where to start. And I don't want you to waste your time watching a bunch of videos instead of doing the things you need to do. So the number one, absolute first thing you need to do when you're gonna start a business is you need to figure out what the actual heck you're gonna do. So are you gonna provide a service to people? Are you going to create a product? Are you going to create a digital product? What are you going to do? And what is that like path of least resistance to the money? Something that I think a lot of people don't talk about is sometimes you may want to start business A, but business A is going to require $100,000 in capital and you don't have $100,000 in capital and no bank's gonna give you $100,000 in capital, right? So a lot of times people will say, well, I wanna start that, but it's gonna require a lot and I don't have it and so just blah. But instead, what I want you to think about is what could I do for business B that would allow me to make the money I need to make plus be saving up for the things I need for business A. So oftentimes people won't take the path of least resistance. They take this like hard, drudgy path to the business they want to own. And that's not going to get anybody anywhere. That's how businesses shut down because they made no money in the first 4 years or whatever. And that's how people end up being, burnt out and things like that. You are not taking the path of least resistance. So figure out what you're going to do. Maybe you want to start business A, but maybe it's not in the cards right now. So figure out what business B is to help you get to business A. Maybe you want to be a content creator like I am, or like you see your favorite bloggers or YouTube people being, but you also need to make money. So maybe you focus right now on creating a service and doing a service for people to make money so that you have that nest egg while you're building out your content creation business, because trust me, you cannot create a bunch of content and then just all of a sudden make a bunch of money. It's quite the process. Okay, so first and foremost, you've got to figure out what you're doing. You've got to. And you've got to do it in a smart way where it actually makes sense and it will actually give you money. Number 2, you need to come up with your core 3 for your business. You need to have a niche, a name, and a way to monetize. So I think so often people don't think about like, oh, I need to know all of these things before I start. I'm just gonna start and then they'll all come to me. And I actually believe the exact opposite of that. I think you need to figure out who you're gonna serve, what you're gonna call your business, which obviously you need that, and how it's going to make you money. So, if you're like, I want to be a web designer, just putting yourself out there as a web designer is not going to be a great way to start a business. But if you say, okay, I want to be a web designer for bloggers. That could be a really great niche where you say, okay, I'm going to be the bloggers web designer. That's what I do. So that is a niche. And then you need to figure out a name and a way you're going to make money. What I would do if it were me starting over is I would come up with all the ways that I want to be or could be monetizing my business. So, okay, I want to create content. I want to create a product, whatever. Okay, how am I going to make money? How much money am I going to make? How many customers do I need per month? How much do the numbers. Don't be scared of the numbers. You've got to figure out where you need to be before you can develop a plan on how to get there. So once you have the niche and the name, figure out exactly what you're going to sell, how much it's going to be sold for, how many customers or clients or whatever you need to get to the number you need to make per month for this business to be worth it. Don't just go into this all blind and not understanding where you should go and what you should be doing. So again, let's talk about that. Just let's wrap that up. Number 2 here on for after you figure out what you want to be doing. Number 2 is you've got to figure out a niche, which is basically who are you going to serve? And it can't be everybody. Then you've got to figure out a name and you've got to figure out your monetization plan, okay? The third thing you want to do is you want to file any appropriate paperwork. So if you are just starting out and you want to operate under a DBA, which is a doing business as operation, then do that. But check with your county, your state, etc., and figure out exactly what you have to file to make sure they know that you are operating a business. There are sometimes work from home disclosures you have to file with your city. There are oftentimes, DBA things you have to file with your county or your state to tell them you're going to be doing a business. There might even be fees involved. So definitely check into that based on the city, state, county, whatever that you live in. For me here, it was a $17 DBA filing at first. Now, I do now have an LLC. But I didn't file that LLC until I was a couple years into business and I really started making money and figuring out where I wanted my business to go. So you don't have to jump in feet first and incorporate your business first and foremost. Just figure out what is going to be best for you and the kind of business you want to run and go figure out the paperwork you need to file to get that done. This one's important. Set up a business checking account and figure your tax-ish out first. So this is something I did not do. And this is something that a lot of business owners would tell you that they didn't do it first. And this is something that has taken me a lot of years to correct not doing and a lot of payments to the tax man to correct not doing. Particularly if you are starting some kind of business that you can scale fairly easily, it could be that you make, very little money in the first year of your business and you triple that or quadruple that in the second year and you weren't ready to do that financially. So I would highly suggest just setting up a business checking account, keeping your business finances separate from your personal finances, and figuring out how you're going to allocate for taxes, what your tax rates are for your state, etc. So I am definitely not a tax person, trust me. This is one of my biggest pitfalls in my business that we just recently gotten straightened out. But you want to make sure that you're doing this correctly so you don't get burnt now or later. And the fifth thing, now that you've got, you figured out what you're doing, you know what you're going to name it, you know who you're selling to, you know what you're selling, you have legally told your state or your county that you are going to be selling, and you know how you're going to keep up with your moolah, is to start putting the word out. Tell your friends, tell your social media followers, tell whoever you can tell that you have this new business that you are starting and you'd love for them to support you. Now, something that I see happening a lot is, and I did this too, so don't think that I'm saying don't do this and whatever and I'm perfect, because I totally did this too. But something I see a lot is when people start a business and then they expect their friends and family to be the person or the people who basically keep that business afloat. That's not fair to your friends and family, and it's not going to get you very far in business. I see this more so with MLMs and people who decide to start selling within a network marketing company. They will, go to their Facebook friends and family and bug their Facebook friends and family and say, hey, can you have a party? Do you want to have a party? Do you want to buy from me? Do you want to have this? Whatever. And they expect their friends and family to keep their business afloat. That's not fair. It's not going to work. And you're not going to get very far doing that. Now, I should also say, I mentioned MLMs there. I am not anti-MLM. I actually love several products from several MLM companies. Do not come at me. I am here for it. But I think there's a good way and a bad way to market it and put your name out there. So that being said, definitely share your business with your friends and family. I will oftentimes see people who are afraid to because they're embarrassed or they're nervous or they're anxious about what their friends and family will say about their business. And I get that. But definitely share it, because you just never know who on your friends list on Facebook might need your services or your product, or who on your friends list on Facebook might know somebody who needs it. Or if your great Aunt Sally has a best friend who's been looking for that exact service you're starting. So you just don't know if they're going to need it, but don't count on them to be the ones who need it. That's a good first step. And then you need to start putting the word out there to other people that are not personal and close to you. So there are definitely times when people have a social media following and didn't have a business to go along with it, and then they start one. I mean, you could have an Instagram following, you could have a Facebook following where, you started something a couple years ago and a meme went viral and you've never really done anything with it or whatever. And if that's the case, absolutely share it to your social media following, because again, you never know who's going to want what you have. Another strategy here would be to build a social media following before you really announce your business. And that one is kind of on a case-by-case personal decision basis, because you may not have the time to wait to build a social media following. You may not have the time to do that. And then on the opposite swing of that, you may very well be like, you know what, I'd like to spend a couple months just building social media followings and then telling them about my business. And either way is absolutely fine. It really is based on just like what you need and the money you need and how quickly you need this thing to grow. So I have had friends who, were exiting corporate positions without the need for an immediate cash influx within their business, who spent a few months building up social media platforms like Instagram or whatever, cultivating the people that they want to talk to. So example, let's say that I want to be an interior designer and I want to offer that as a service, and I want to offer like digital interior design. I could spend a couple of months creating and cultivating an Instagram following based around the aesthetic that I love for interior design. I could create a whole Instagram feed about my, interior design style and, really build a community there. And then when I'm ready to say, hey, I have this thing to offer, there are people there ready and waiting for it. But there's also nothing wrong with going ahead and like starting both at the same time and saying, I offer this as a service, but also I'm starting Instagram. There's nothing wrong with either of those options. It's just that you need to do what's right for you. Now, another way to get the word out into the world is to run ads. And again, this is not going to be something everybody is going to be able to do. You may not have the budget to run ads. That's fine. You can still grow a business. Don't get me wrong. But if you were to have a budget where you could say, hey, I want to spend $1,000 to run ads to grow my Instagram account or to grow my email list or to grow my Facebook or to grow my YouTube or whatever, to where when someone does give you that follow or does kind of come through and become part of your audience, they're there for you to sell to. Now, the way I would do this, I wouldn't spend money to run ads to just drive people to social medias. So I wouldn't do that on YouTube. I wouldn't do that on Instagram. I wouldn't do it on Facebook, because just because they follow you somewhere doesn't mean they're even going to see your content. So I wouldn't run ads to send traffic to my social medias. I wouldn't run ads to send people to YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, because just because they follow you on a social media, one, doesn't mean they're invested, and two, doesn't mean they're even going to see it when you promote your business or your service or whatever. So what I would do instead is run ads to grow your email list. Now, I'm going to be having more content coming out on my channel in the coming weeks about email marketing, but essentially what I would do is I would offer up some kind of freebie or even small priced product that your customers or clients or whatever really want. And then I would run ads to that if you're going to go down the ad running path. So the next way to kind of put the word out there for your business and make sure people find you is to be found on search. Now, this is probably one of my favorite ways to promote my business and any other business I would want to promote, is making sure that people find it when they're looking for it. So if somebody is looking for a t-shirt shop in your area, they should find you. If someone is looking for someone to do their website, they should find you. If someone is looking for someone to edit videos, they should find you. Do your work to be found in search, and then that way people are coming to you while you're doing your work. So some ways to do this are to blog and really utilize SEO. They're to create content on YouTube and things such as that to get people to find you when they're on the internet searching for the things. There's also like Google ads that you can run specifically if you have a local business. And then you can also be, listed with local communities and on Facebook and things like that so that people find you in your local area if that's what you're going after. Okay, so starting a business is really not that hard, I swear. You literally just have to figure out what you're doing and start. The real work goes in finding the people to purchase from you, finding the clients, finding the people who want to buy your thing. And that is really where you have to dive into your business specifically and how you're going to market it and put the word out there. So if you have any specific questions on how to start a business in 2020, how to really get the ball rolling, how to make it work, how to actually have people find you, leave them in the comments below so I can create more content for you on this subject, because I'm always happy to do that. And until next time, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any other tips, tricks, and tutorials from your girl Jessica so you can start, build, and grow a business that supports the life that you love. Bye, y'all.